every time that I come to your TV or your smartphone, just know that I'm bringing you Konooweka Youth Program. Program eno ebeerawo buli lwa mukaaga. Essaawa eno eba premieringa buli lwa mukaaga, era w'ogirabira buno obudde omanya nti bwe budde bwe premieringirako. Ssaawa 4 paka ssaawa zaffe 4:30 or 5. So we normally give it time. And we want always to discuss very many things with young people. Today it's something different. We are bringing a different episode towards you. Episode yetuleeta olwaleero ya njawulo era muli muvubuka ali eyo tusaba obeereko olaba akantu kano. Tubaleetera abantu ab'enjawulo. Kati olwaleero twasazeewo kasavu kanyama tubaleetere ku kintu ekyenjawulo mu nsonga zino ez'abavubuka. Mukimanyi bulungi we are celebrating International Youth Day. That is just a few days to go. Now, as a young person, what have you prepared to celebrate this day? Have you prepared your chips and chicken? Have you prepared your books? Have you prepared your panties? Have you prepared anything that you're going to use to celebrate this day? So, this comes to you in all rounds. It is your day, and how are you going to celebrate it? Today, we have decided to celebrate it with you on this platform. And how we are bringing you your leaders that are going to benefit you. Tubaleetedde abakulembeze ababagasa, abakulembeze abagenda bateeka ku mutendera ogw'enjawulo. Era they all have different messages towards your prosperity. So tubasaba mubeereko, tubaleetere ekyenjawulo, ekintu kyammwe. Just do one thing, help us subscribe, like, and of course share. Share with everyone. We are sharing this information with all our friends. Remember, this is a youth program. Eno program yabavubuka. Era buli muntu alabikira ku program eno alabikirako ng'omuvubuka. Era tetugenda baleetera bajjajjammwe, tetugenda baleetera basenga bammwe, tetugenda baleetera bani. We are bringing you young people, and today we have decided to bring to you all the youths from different categories. Tubaleetedde ku youth MP, mugenda kwa mulabaawo. Tubaleetedde ku muganda wange Edgar, gundi kansala w'abavubuka Endeje Division. Tubaleetedde ku Youth Ambassador International, era naye mugenda tubeera naye kumpi buli lunaku naye, but this is something different. It's a different episode. And of course tubaleeteddeyo ne muganda waffe Abubeka Makanga okubanga naye abaako ekyenjawulo nakyo kyababuulira. Era you are going to see a variety. So it is going to be kasavu kanyama. Just sit and enjoy this platform. It's your platform, it's our platform. So everyone has a right to enjoy in this. And of course katutandike tubaleetire abavubuka bano mulabe kye babagamba.
Hello, my name is Fiona Nyamtoro, the National Female Youth Member of Parliament. The Youth Day is an international date where we get to celebrate the energies that make us young people. As we are all aware, youthful times is just a stage that we all have to transition at some point. But it is very important that during these particular times of our lives, we are able to leave footprints that can contribute to the development of our nation. Every generation has what it means to be young. And in our own times, we are choosing to be visionary leaders, those that can create a difference in the communities that we come from, those that can advocate for better livelihoods, and those that will stand for the cause of humanity. The Youth Day can be celebrated in very many ways. Every young person in every corner of the world, not just Uganda, is mandated to always celebrate their youthful times. And in so doing, any single activity that you would do on the 12th of August to create an impact as a young person is part of the celebration. We have young people in different parts of the country who come together and do communal work. We have young people who are offering services in all sectors in the economy. We have young people who are rendering themselves as peer educators to fellow young people. So there are a number of activities. They are limitless. I cannot sit down and give you a list of this is what we can do, this is not what we can do, but I can only encourage young people to get involved in as many communal building activities as possible. We have very many plans as the youth members of parliament. This time around we have committed ourselves to working as one unit. We are 5 in number, and we want to challenge the notion that youth members of parliament don't deliver. The greatest challenge we are dealing with now in the country is youth empowerment, which translates us to the issue of unemployment, underemployment, and all that surrounds survival of the young people in communities. Now, unemployment is a very, very deep-rooted problem that we are aware is also global, not just in Uganda. We also know that it might not be possible to entirely deal away with it, but we want to contribute to the positivity of this cause to a certain magnitude, and by so doing we are going to focus so much on policies that create a better environment for a young person to survive. We are looking at economic growth not just being statistically read, but being felt on ground. We want to look at policies that will favor a young person to have income at the end of the day when the economists are reading the gross domestic product. The income of a young person can enable them to survive and cope with the standards of living. So that is our #1 agenda, the empowerment of young people. And then secondly, because I personally as an individual, I am very passionate about the girl child, I'll be at the forefront of advocating for better reproductive health services in the country. Because over time we've seen different researches, we've seen different stories that are run by investigative journalists, and they all lure us to the issue that one of the causes of the girl child not being able to complete a decent education has been menstrual related issues. So we want to push government first of all to fulfill the pledge of accessibility of menstrual pads across the country. We want to ensure that at least we get a commitment of having different production plants in as many localized areas as possible, so that that is not one of the issues that causes school dropout. We want to see that we contribute to a very good magnitude the reduction of teenage pregnancies, but we also want to enlighten the girl child more about their rights, build their confidence, and just encourage them to stay in school so that we have a better breed of mothers in the future. We have more empowered women that are contributing to the development of their economy, and I'm sure we shall have a better nation. My last attributes would be to the young people. I know being a young person, especially during these hard times of the pandemic, is very challenging. We have very many dreams that we are chasing. We have a lot of energy. We have too many diversities that we can choose from. My only encouragement would be that life is not necessarily a bed of roses. And as you go through all the challenges that you do, at the end of the day, what matters most is to focus. As you focus, you also love each other as a people. And then we dwell on hope. Hope is the reason as to why we live today. Hope is the reason we convince ourselves that there is a better tomorrow. So in whatever you do, whether it is the talent sector, whether it is professional, whether you're in school, whether you're in the informal sector and you are a young person, be rest assured that the hope to live tomorrow can drive you to achieve all your dreams. And yes, you could make this world a better place by your own input. Thank you.
My name is Matanda Abubeka. I'm the National Youth Coordinator, Alliance for National Transformation, ANT, and a representative to the National Youth Council representing the youth of Bududa District. I'm glad to be here to speak about the upcoming International Youth Day celebrations, whose theme centers around food systems and how youth innovations can be used to transform youth systems. Uganda is said to be the second youngest country on earth. That means this is a country for young people. And UBOS has also shown us that more than 78% of the Ugandan population are young people below the age of 35. That means every resource, every platform, every opportunity has to be used to see on how we can tap into this youth dividend before it becomes a curse. Because youth, when not engaged in productivity, tend to go into criminality and other things that lead to instability. So the International Youth Day reflecting on food systems is a great opportunity because Uganda, again, is largely a peasant society where most people who are in farming are doing subsistence farming that does not bring in any income. And we know young people to be the engines of innovation, the engines of being dynamic and having energy and being very ambitious. So it's worthwhile for us to discuss how we can position the country and the youth in a position where this innovativeness and the energy that young people have is pushed to transform our food systems. Our food systems are still largely very traditional, and so we get very low yields and end up being unemployed, yet we have very good climate, we have very good soils, the population is growing, and we are potentially a food basket for the whole region and the whole continent. So as the National Youth Council and as the Alliance for National Transformation, I think that we need to look out for the young people that have come up with innovations in farming and put a spotlight on them such that the rest of us can learn from it. But we also need to assess our policies as a country to see whether they are favorable to support a young person who is coming up with an innovation. I know that students, say at Makerere University for example, come up with a lot of innovations, but we have not invested enough as a country in creating opportunities that these young people can tap into. There is, for example, no fund that a young innovator can take advantage of, and those that seem to come up mostly funded by developing partners, the information is very scanty and young people don't know how to reach those opportunities. So there is need to put them out there for people to get to know them. Secondly, there is need to review our laws and policies and enforce those that exist. A law, for example, on intellectual property. In this country, we know that when you come up with an innovation, it is very easy for that innovation to be stolen, and our law enforcers have not been sensitized enough to protect intellectual property. I know young people that have written books and literature, and these have been pirated, and when they go to report to police, the police does not seem to understand the offenses around intellectual property. You also know that innovation runs so much on internet. Our rates of internet penetration are very low, and unfortunately just last month government brought up a tax of 12%, a very unfortunate development. We would ask the lawmakers and the policy makers to review that decision. We told them that the tax on mobile money and the tax on social media, those taxes were wrong. They insisted and pushed them. We all know where they have ended. The OTT tax has had to be dropped, and the mobile money tax had to be revised. And we looked very clumsy, as if we don't have planners. So even for this tax on the usage of internet, not at this time at least, at a time when we need young people to be innovative, at a time when we are driving sectors like education to go online, you cannot introduce a tax. You would rather invest all the resources you have to ensure more people are able to access internet and that it is as cheap as possible. We know that internet in Uganda is one of the most expensive in the region. We need to find out why and what can we do to bring the cost of internet down. Finally, I would like to speak to a young person out there. Whereas this tax has been put up, it is also true that we are the most tech-savvy generation in this country's history. I can tell you that there is a lot of information on internet. There's a lot of information on tools like YouTube, on tools like Google Scholar, if you have decided to go into any sector, make use of these tools. A few years ago, I decided to go into rabbit farming with a few friends. But I can tell you, just from the internet, we ended up becoming experts on rabbit farming. And we understand rabbit farming in and out without ever having stepped into any school. When you go on YouTube, even if you want to learn today on how to bake bread, even if you want to learn today on, I don't know what, how to bind a book, or even to make liquid soap, or think about anything, and the information is there. So rather than just be on WhatsApp, gossiping, be on Facebook, you know, you can joke, you can share memes, but it is important that you also use the internet to find out what's happening elsewhere. Because when we talk about innovativeness, it does not necessarily mean that you have to come up with something new. You may find that we are grappling with a challenge here, but when the young people, say in South Korea or in another country like Botswana, have actually come up with an innovation that solves that problem, it helps for you to go and look out on the internet. This thing I'm doing, I may be making juice or growing something. How is it done elsewhere? When you collect all that information, it is very easy for you to use that information to improve whatever you're doing and do it better. I wish you happy International Youth Day celebrations. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's tweet. Let's use this platform. Let's ask questions. Let's share with colleagues on our statuses. Let's post on all social media platforms and see that this information reaches to the people who need it. Government, lift the ban on Facebook as soon as possible. You're looking bad. You're damaging the economy more than you can imagine. Thank you.
A nation's engine runs on the youth today. My name is Muchwa Edgar, Male Youth Council and AJ Division. As we all know, 12th August 2021, we are celebrating the International Youth Day. I urge you, my fellow youth, let's come together as one to develop this nation. As I stand here today, let this be the landmark, let this be the prime tower to end all our miseries. I believe you and me, we have all our differences. We have differences in everything, where we stay, where we live, and all the differences come in politically, socially, and economically. As I stand here today, my brother and sister, I urge you, where you are, in a scientific way, in a scientific manner, you can celebrate the International Youth Day. Thank you very much.
Dear Africa, I'm Rimbazi Sakatunguru, the African Youth Ambassador. As we celebrate the International Youth Day, out of 3.6 billion people, youth make the majority under the age of 25 years. As we do celebrate this year's International Youth Day, we need to equip the youth with resilience, motivation, and agency so that they continue with their capabilities in fostering national and international development. As you are aware, we celebrate different youth who are changing their communities as change agents and change ambassadors, who are bringing positive change in their communities, trying out different fields, and their hearts are beating for their population. We appreciate you as we look to celebrate this year's International Youth Day. To the government, always try to enable the youth to be active in the formulation of policies. We need to aid the young people to achieve their goals and ambitions through participatory engagements. We need to awaken their talents. We need to empower them through skilling them in different fields to make them resourceful for respective nations. to my fellow youth, young men and women, activate your talents. Don't sit on your souls. Before you ask for what the government has done for you, ask yourself what you've contributed to your respective government through innovation, through hard work, and embracing technology. Like we always share, that the world moved away from the factors of production to 3 items. We have time. How much time do you engage yourself on doing productive issues? Then how do you utilize the technology? How do you use your smartphone? How do you use your gadgets to communicate to your clients, to reach to your customers, to communicate to friends and do research on different kind of ideas you want to implement in your respective community or audience as well. We need to use the numbers. If youth, we are making the majority out of the 3.6 billion people. We have youth who are under the age of 25 years and they are tech savvy. They know how to use different gadgets. We need to use the numbers to sell our products and services because it's the way to go. As we are in the era of coronavirus pandemic, we've been in different lockdowns, in different phases. We need to start realigning ourselves on what works according to the environment, according to the demands of the global community. We need to wake up, use the numbers, and you need people to sell, you need people to buy and consume your products, and stop consuming what is being produced outside Africa. We need to consume our own and also learn the dynamics of our environment, the dynamics of the markets, and the dynamics of the people we want to serve. Serve diligently, serve with love and passion. Love what you're doing, start whatever you can, as small as it is, than waiting for big things which are not there. We still have different challenges, but together through different networks and think tanks like Konooweka Youth Program, we shall have different engagements to keep the debate going and flowing. So we invite you, different youth leaders, to come on board and we share the cake together. We don't want to leave anybody behind as we look to celebrate the International Youth Day. Thank you very much.